Hello guys, today in this video I'm going to be creating a Azure virtual machine with Azure portal, and then I'm going to be showing you how to connect to that virtual machine from your local computer using RDP. So if you don't have Azure account yet, this is my account that I created for demonstration purpose. So if you don't have an account created yet, in my previous video when I explaining about Azure Devops, I show how to create an account for demonstration and labs and testing purposes. So you will be getting about $200 for this account, and it is for 1 month's time. The only downside is you have to provide your credit card credentials, but still the Azure provide all the access to all the features that they are offering in this subscription. Okay, so let's get started by creating a resource group. Go to add the resource group by clicking add. So this is my subscription. I select that one, and I'm giving a name for my resource group called say VNet, because in the future I'm planning to extend this video to create a complete virtual network. Okay, so region I will put East US. And I will create a resource group for this purpose. Okay, so this is the new resource group. It has not turned up yet, so refresh that. Okay, so this is, you can see the resource group that I just created. So let's go ahead and type the virtual machines here and get into the section. There you can see one of the virtual machines that I previously created. So let me create a new one by clicking add. The subscription is same, and the resource group is RG-VNet, which I just created a while ago. And let me give a name as VM 002 for this, for just a random name. And the region, I'm happy to be same as in the resource group region, because in the future, in some time, if I want to maintain that, if I want to delete the resource group, then I can straight away go ahead and create a resource group that will wipe off all the virtual machines and other resources inside that. That's how the Azure works. Okay, the availability option is one of the most important thing that Azure provide. That means the disks, virtual hard drives that we're going to attach to this virtual machine has to have some sort of availability. That means the Azure maintain their hardware, underlying hardware, as well as there can be unexpected events happens, and it can completely destroy your all the other operations that you're going to be planning with this virtual machine. So to avoid that, Azure promises the clients that they provide availability for their hardware, and they are promising it through the service level agreement. So if you are interested in service level agreement, I highly recommend you go back here. So this is a service level agreement that the Azure provides. So I'm for virtual machines, and they promise the people that they are providing 99.99 availability for availability zones, and 99.95 for the availability sets that you can pick as an options in this drop down box. So I'm not going to go to much details, because I'm planning a separate video wrapping up all the Azure business continuity strategy completely for the storage account, replication options, as well as availability options in the virtual machines. So that is not a focus today. But however, I'm going to put a link down below in the description for this link, so I highly recommend you to go back and read it. Okay, so the disk size is the other option. Let me availability zone in this case, and I will put the zone 1, and let me choose an image that is the operating system. So I will give 2016 data center, and the disk size of the selected hardware for this virtual machine. Let me pick available size. They provide a bunch of options to pick as for the disks. So I will be picking one of the simplest ones. This account type is important. Azure provide about three disk types. One is general purpose 1, general purpose 2, and the block storage. So they are promoting in nowadays, I mean, for the users that they are recommending, general purpose version 2 is the most suitable one. Okay, so in this case, I'm not going to go to much details about the disk. I will just create simplest version right here, which cost me a less amount, and selecting that, go back here and giving a username for that. Let's say they are not allowed to insert the usernames like user, admin, all these kind of things. So I'm giving it like Azure Hasitha is my name, and the password. Okay, and the confirm password. Okay, so this is the other thing, that the important thing, like if you provide inbound ports. So this is, in this case, there are a bunch of options. From these, I am allowing only RDP, which is I can then after creating this virtual machine, then I can remote desktop to this computer from my local computer. Let's go to the next. So premium and standard, these are the two types that Azure provide for their disks. Premium is faster, but it's costly. So in my case, I'm putting a standard HDD. And the other option, let's go next. Okay. So for all the virtual machines that we're going to create in Azure by default create a virtual network for you at the first time. Okay, and they assign a network card for that virtual network. Okay, so they are giving a subnet range for the first time as a default subnet, and assigning a public IP for this virtual machine. Network security group, the other thing that you can provide a bunch of security options. In this case, I'm picking basic, and public inbound ports is the one that I just explained a while ago. I'm picking it as RDP. So let's go to management. Okay, so these are the other management options. So this is important. The auto shutdown. I'm choosing the auto shutdown to on and giving a time. Every day at 7 p.m. I want my virtual machine to shut down, because it saves some cost from my card, and if you really want to feel it, then after 7 p.m. once you create a virtual machine, you can RDP, but Azure is not allowed to log into that machine because it's already shut down at 7 p.m. exactly. Okay, so that's the purpose of setting up that, and I'm not interested in creating any backups because it is costly as well. And the next option is advanced. There is nothing much here for today's demo. And the next is tags. I'm not going to provide any tags today, but if you're really interested, is based on the purpose of creating this virtual machine, you can always provide tags for your management purpose. And reviewing your data, it takes some time. See, it's popping up the initial deployment message. Takes about 20-30 seconds. Cool. Alright, so your deployment is almost there. the other resources turned up. And you can see the details that we provide. Azure always provide a assigned public IP address for this computer, and that's why you can RDP into that. And availability zone, as we decided, is 1. That means this computer, this virtual machine, and if I create another virtual machine, if I want to network a couple of virtual machines in this zone, then Azure ensures that the other virtual machine that I create is protected from disasters by locating it in a different zone and not in the same data center. So now, as a part 2, we're going to be RDP into the virtual machine that we created. To do that, so we click connect from here, and this RDP file, remote desktop settings file, we download to our local computer. Just click in there to open up the RDP file, and you can see it is asking me for my password. Connecting. So 3389 is a TCP port which attached to this public IP of the virtual machine, and that public IP came from here. Okay, it looks good. So I can see that things are turning up for me, preparing the windows and other things in the virtual machine, and I'm going to log into the virtual machine from my local computer. Cool. So everything is perfect. So you can see this is just another Windows computer. And okay, if you want to move one step forward from here, which is not a part of today's session, you can configure IIS configuration in this virtual machine and deploy a small application which is having one single HTML page or something, and then you can view it through your browser using the public IP address. So and just remember to open the port 80 for that. So I keep it as an assignment for you to do it yourself and ensure how this stuff works and realize how it is working. And in my next video, I'll be demonstrating about how to use the load balancer when you have a virtual network, a few virtual machines working together. And in that video, I'll be demonstrating the advantage of having availability sets, availability zones, and how the virtual machines get distributed across the data centers and across the different data centers to keep your website available, your applications available 99% above. That's the end of today's video. So stay tuned with my channel. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, just subscribe to that. And because I will be creating a series of videos combining the Azure and the development, the server cloud environment, as well as from the developer's angle, and I'm trying to fill in the gap from development to the deployment the most of the developers having. Even I remember as a young developer, when I started the work, even first 5 to 6 years, I did not have any interest towards learning the server and DevOps and other configuration when it comes to complete the whole life cycle of software development. But later in time, when I move up from development to architect level, then I had to learn these things in the hard way. So I'm trying to fill the gap that the most developers, programmers having these days. So thanks for watching, and subscribe and like if you like this video. Thanks.